When was the last stock? What was the last stock you bought, and when was it?
Well, I mean, in the new accounts coming in, I'm buying kind of our portfolio, but I'm buying, whether it's Qualcomm, it's Illumina, I'm buying Lowe's. Spreading it across, I'm buying financials. I mean, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Prudential.
That's new money?
All the stocks
That's new money you're putting to work? I don't want you to go down the book of all the stocks you owned. Well, on my sheet, it says you have no moves. You have no new moves.
No, meaning, well, for new money, yes, no new ideas. But if people add capital, yeah, I'm putting the money to work.
You are putting the money to work. Okay. At the current levels of the stocks you're talking about, you're not hesitant to buy more of the stocks you own.
No, I'm not hesitant to buy these stocks. If I'm wrong for the next, quarter and the market pulls back, I'll add more to them. But these are the companies that I like.
All right. I just wanted to make sure I understood exactly where we're coming from. Stephanie Link, you bought Best Buy for the first time ever. Tell me why.
Yeah, I've never owned it, and I missed a lot of money along the way, but I still think that this stock is very attractive. It's a stay-at-home stock. It's also a reopened stock, trading at 16 times with a 2.4% dividend yield and a $2 billion buyback. Traffic and store closures, we know that's been the headwind. As we reopen, that's going to become a tailwind. Digital has gone from, in e-commerce, has gone from 19% of total to 43% of total. Buy online, pick up at stores, 48% of e-commerce, and that's humming along. They've lowered their cost structure because they did have a lot of layoffs, unfortunately, but they lowered their cost structure. Inventories are lean. In fact, if anything, I think the supply chain constraints might hurt them a little bit, but I think investors are going to look through it. I certainly will. And I think it's important to know that the vendors don't want just Walmart and Amazon to run the show. And so they do support Best Buy and are providing them with product. So I like the story. I think it's reasonably priced. They have easy comparisons in the next 2 months. It gets harder in the second half of the year, but I think that's already factored into the numbers.
How are you thinking about some of those stocks that I mentioned are hitting new all-time highs, Stephanie? One's like, and I think do you own United Rentals and Stanley Black & Decker? One or the other? Both? Neither?
I own Stanley Black & Decker. I don't own United Rentals, although that was my final trade last week. I own Cat, I own Deere, I own a ton of industrials. So, yeah, but Stanley I do because it is for do-it-yourself, stay-at-home. 30% of their tools and storage business is Home Depot and Lowe's. So I get that exposure. But they also have an infrastructure business and an energy business. And so that's reopen. And this company has positively surprised and pre-announced in the last 2 quarters. Who's doing that, right? These guys are definitely doing it. And I just don't think it gets all the credit. It's up about 14% on the year, but it did nothing last year. So I think that there's more to go there. I really do like that story quite a bit.
Yeah, John, what about the home builders? The home builder ETF is one of those at new highs as of yesterday. A lot of the stocks within it, Lennar, which you have calls in, and things related to it, like Lowe's, for example, which you also own calls. That's a new all-time high as well. What are you doing with those now?
Holding them, Scott. In particular, I love that the interest rates have come back and rather than running away to the upside. So that's been good. For both of those companies in particular. And, I just keep waiting for the moment when I have to pull the trigger on Home Depot because it's just been a sideways mover, Scott. And if I saw some big institutional volume in there, I'd love to get back into that name. But like you say, Lowe's, I'm willing to stick with that. If we start to see some other home builders catching bids on the institutional side, I'd be happy to chase into those too because rates are not running away from us, and that's a good thing for both the home builders and for the people that supply the stuff like Lowe's and Home Depot.